Nailed it.
Okay, we're opening up the meeting on November 10th, Parks and Rec Commission. And with that, we're going to start with audience and citizens. So my friend Ginny is here, and she's going to talk to us about the item on the consent agenda, which is a bench.
Yes.
It's being donated. So Ginny, if you could give us your full name and address for the recording and minutes.
Okay, it's Virginia Champ, and it's 550 Beckley Road, Berlin.
And is that East Berlin?
Berlin.
It's Berlin.
That's
Okay.
Berlin.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, Jen Oprah had asked me to write a letter of intent, and I guess Steve kind of thought it was really very long. But she told me to be very detailed and not leave anything out, so I'm sorry. Anyway.
We appreciate it.
You all have a copy of that?
Yes, we
letter,
do.
so you
Yeah.
read it,
And your
you
nice
know-
handwriting too.
Pardon me?
And your nice handwriting too.
Yes, thank you. My husband never thinks that I was putting in right.
Well, maybe what's no notes, you know.
Anyway, so you know why I'm here through the letter.
Yes.
Nothing has changed except I got an additional $20 donation. So now total donation I've collected is $16.40. We were hoping to be able to get an 8-foot bench, but we're a little shy even in a 6-foot bench. However, I'm not giving up hope because when I was working the election, Jimmy Simons asked me to call him. And evidently the fire departments, donation, he asked me how I'm getting the money. I told him strictly donations. And he said, call me tomorrow. So I did. And I gave him a copy of the same letter you have. And he's going to bring it to the fireman board of directors and see if possibly they can donate. I have no idea how much it will be. I didn't ask for any specific amount, but I did tell him I did give him the figures of the 6-foot versus the 8-foot. And we'll just see what happens. But I'm not worried if even if they don't come, come up with any type of donation. I'm not worried about it because I myself haven't donated any cash. I've done all the work. I haven't donated money yet. So I think I would just see it's so close to what we need. You know. So I think I'm confident in what's about. My only question is, depending on what the fire department will decide, what size. So I'm asking for permission for either a 6-foot or an 8-foot bench. Okay. In their memory. The options.
Would the plaque 3 inches by 10 be the same size on the bench, regardless if it's 6 or 8 foot?
I don't know. The plaque would go across the top rail.
Yeah. So that the 8 foot, it looks like they break it in the middle.
Right? You know?
That's what the picture appears to.
The 8 foot would have that separate. Yeah.
Third support.
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far because I felt it was too detailed. I didn't want to go by the same.
Yeah, I just, sometimes, and I know Jen's trying to do the right thing. Sometimes we could be too specific. And when it goes to council, that's what they're going to be given. And I just want to make sure we're a little general or we are specific, so just to give you some legroom. Like right now, the consent agenda says approval of a 6-foot because that's what you knew. But you want to say 6 or 8 foot, right?
Yeah.
So we can change that.
Yeah,
So,
and because I never expected that fire department I wasn't aware that they even did that.
Yeah, no, that, yeah, I'm sure.
Evidently, this, a relative of Jimmy Simons, who used to
Yeah.
ride with Rob and Linda Corvallis. She got wind of it.
Okay.
Yes, spoken to him. Unfortunately, today I didn't touch base with him. I did deliver to someone who promised that we would get it tonight.
Okay. All right, commissioners, any questions?
Okay.
Julie?
By the way, reading your letter, your handwriting is just like out of this world.
Ah,
I'll
give you my telephone
number and you can tell my husband.
I can't read my own writing sometimes, so.
You're okay with this company?
Well, I was
obviously, you
gonna
know
do it
about
It's the only company,
Yeah.
one of the only companies we use.
Right, right. And as far as Crystal Creek, the 6 or 8 foot is gonna make a big difference.
Nope, no difference, wherever they choose.
Seems appropriate.
Yep.
It would be outside of the gate.
Yep.
Right? Would it be? So, you know, it's kind of a rectangle shape, right? You thinking on the side or on the front, or you don't know yet?
I would go.
Leave it up to Steve.
Steve had said he would
Okay.
take us out there, and unfortunately, haven't had the time, you know.
Okay, no, that's fine. So you'll work it out with Steve, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but whatever he thinks is the best.
Okay, so what normally happens is, we'll have to go through approval of minutes, and then we'll discuss this. You're welcome to stay. Hopefully, we can be fairly quick, but we would make an amendment and just say or 8 foot.
Yeah.
6 or 8.
I didn't.
Yeah,
didn't
just
know.
because we want to get this to council, and, you know, so that when you get the money, you're all set to go.
Right,
Okay.
right. That's the only change. I didn't know until they elected.
Yeah.
I didn't know his intent until I called him yesterday morning,
Right,
so.
okay, all right,
One question before,
yes,
if he does get approval to donate so we can afford the 8 foot, who do I notify?
I'm just gonna work with Steve.
Yep.
Steve?
And, you know, where you put the amount, because they have to create, it's a donation kind of thing. So valued at 1,100, and then I see the 8 foot is right now 1,258, so I'm just gonna say 1,300.
Well, but you have to take into consideration, Steve said, $100 for the cement slab for putting benches on. So that people can't
So you're
stand
gonna
on.
put a full slab on.
So in my letter, I thought I would. Okay. I thought I would mention the shipping and the taxes and everything.
Yeah.
And the cement slab. So the total cost,
Oh, I see. Well, that's securely. Okay.
yeah, because I got the cost and the shipping and the taxes from Steve for both, which I passed along to you. But then there would be an additional $100 for the cement slab. And I'm estimating, because now, because it's a question of a 6 foot or an 8 foot.
Right, and you'll know that at the time.
I'm not sure what vital size. I was told approximately 200. But if the sign has to be, I'm not sure. I have to think about that.
We're gonna say $1,000 to $2,000. And then when you know the value, then you finalize it, okay?
Right.
All right, and then, yeah, you'll work with Steve, finalize the cost, and that way they'll know what the donation is, but it's valued at, you know, in a range of $1,000 to $2,000 all in. $1,000 to $2,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did I have to write down?
Don't worry about it.
I had the totals right there with tax, shipping, and cement slab. I'm estimating 200 for the bronze flat. For 6 foot, it would be 1763. For an 8 foot, it would be 19.
Perfect. say 1,000 to 2,000. You want to say 1,500? It is 1,000. Okay,
I don't know, what up to you? What about this?
yeah, no, we don't know what the total is, you'll know it, but it's just arranged for them. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none. Anybody else online for audience of citizens? Okay, thank you, hearing none. Approval of minutes. Can I get a motion for the approval of October 13th and 25th minutes?
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes October 13th. Whole second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
So Don, I'll vote for the October 13th, 25th. I wasn't here, but
Okay. And
Yeah,
Don,
I wasn't here either, Donna, so I can't vote.
okay, all right, just reflect that in the minutes, and that'll be great. Okay. All right, moving on, consent agenda. So we have a consent agenda item that's written up here. I think the two changes that we want to make is donation of a 6 or 8 foot sterling bench from Barco Products valued at approximately, valued at 1,000 to 2,000 all in, as well as a plaque. So could I have a motion to adopt that additional work?
I'd like to make a motion to consent agenda item A to adopt the changes of a 6 or 8 foot bench valued at 1,100 to 2,000. Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay, passed. Ginny, all set. Want to go to council for their approval. And when you get your monies and everything, you work with Steve directly and be done. Okay. Hey, thanks for coming in and nice package. Okay, next item on the agenda is the pool discussion. Some of us were able to meet at Hubbard at the previous meeting, which was October 25th. Steve, Deb, and Jen stepped us through physically, took us on a walk, showed us where the cracks are, the damages at the pool and that site, including the wading pool. And they're fairly substantial. So this is just the start of the discussion. But we generally, we need to give some guidance to staff, because right now, what's on the table is to put a liner in valued at approximately 280,000. That's currently what's in the capital account for the pool, barring no other issues. I mean, there could be other issues that come up during the process. So we just don't know that. They don't know that. I know they've done a fair amount of work looking up things and learning through. And this would be the meeting that we really would want to discuss that, because they want to solidify that 280 and use it for the pool for the spring, summer season.
So if we were to, I guess we'll work backwards. If you guys were to decide to move forward today, you guys make the presentation to council that you guys are looking for these funds to do this pool. That money, say we went out to bid, the bids came in, we figured February 1st we were going to move forward with it. If we decided to go forward February 1st, the soonest that liner would be installed is September 1st.
Well,
6 months from when we decide to do it with a PO is when it'll be done, because then it goes into queue and it takes anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks to install the line.
So you would miss a whole summer
Yep.
and spend that money to miss a whole summer.
So then if we,
So it wouldn't be ready until 2024 is what you're saying.
yes.
Right.
Wow. Okay. Good to
If,
know.
if we waited till July 1st to do this, it would then be slated to be installed in April, once the frost came out of the ground. And we knew we weren't gonna get any more snow, and that's 8 to 10 weeks from then, which would, the completion would be right around the same time as the pool opens for 2024.
So if we, wait until that point, April, let's say, it's 2024, but you're right at the beginning of the season. Or you do, you make a decision now on the liner, and you go through the process, it's 2024.
Right.
Anyway, because it's gonna happen during the fall and winter, so. And so, that's just one thought, right? If we're not.
Hey, can I, Donna, I'm sorry, can I ask a question though about that? So Steve, say, for example, it gets delayed, meaning that a decision cannot be made. Does the pool open in 2023 as is or no?
Yes, the pool will open up 2023 as is, as long as nothing catastrophic happens and as long as we can staff it. The only thing that goes into consideration is the waiting pool of where you guys want to go with that.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Right, which was the other option, because, right now there's leaks, so you're losing some water, but really the costs aren't that significant on an operating budget basis. So if we want to study this more, bring in vendors or whatever, talk about it, see what makes sense for that, maybe even, approach the council and then perhaps even think about, do you want to maintain a second pool, knowing that the costs are going to be at least $280 right now, and then maybe higher, and you'll still have to maintain a blah, 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 or would you want to move into one town pool, being Percival, which based on statistics, and Debbie confirmed this, but we believe we could handle. Staffing is an issue to have two separate pools. Staffing could be an issue to have one pool, but we believe that we'd be able to definitely operate the one pool, which is what we do for Percival right now. So that's, it's all discussions, and there's so much more to study that, those are really the two options. But at the same point, even if we went along and just said, okay, let's just table this for now. We'll talk about the questions, bring vendors in, go forward with the 2023. Is it appropriate for us now to go to council and make them aware of these issues and that we're looking at it? And this is our, this is our approach to it, and that we're going to study it over the next 4 months or whatever.
Hey, Donna, I agree with you. I agree with you with one caveat, I think, right? And that would be, if we look at surrounding towns, do surrounding towns have more than one pool or just one pool? Because that may be something the council may want to know if they don't know. Because my understanding, most surrounding towns only have one pool, and they operate with one pool. From what I understand, I could be wrong with that, but that's what I understand.
Well, New Britain has more, but they're a bigger city. But Newington has Mill Pond. They have Churchill. I know that at one point they were talking about closing Churchill because of the clocks. It's older, blah, blah, blah. I don't know where that stands right now, but they have two, and they have an indoor, but they have an indoor pool at the high school that the town can use. Okay, so that's
okay. Yeah,
we definitely would want to check and confirm what other towns are doing. I know Steve. I apologize, Steve. I forget the town that you spoke with, but they were putting in. They had the good night pool. They're going to go forward with the line.
Windsor.
What was it?
Windsor.
Windsor. Yeah. And I think Windsor either has 2 or 3 outdoor pools. They did not put one in their new senior center, but
Rocky Hill has one with an indoor pool.
they have.
Weathersfield, I believe, has one, and they have an indoor pool at their high school. So a lot of those communities have one outdoor because they also have an indoor.
Right.
They also
Right.
Carmel has none.
So we need to get an indoor pool.
Yeah, good. Yeah, okay, good luck. But that's fair. So, well, I'm gonna tell you what my sense is that we need to go to council, make them aware of this issue. Because we don't know what we're up against, at this point, and at least make them aware and tell them what our approach will be. And I know we haven't decided that yet, but, I think because of the significance of the dollars, staffing being an issue, that just give them a heads up. Maybe it ends up that, for whatever reason, we were planning to go through in 2023, but something catastrophic happened and can't do Hubbard, but we're gonna do Percival, and that could be a test, but we don't know that yet, so. We do have the waiting.
Yeah, I
for
think,
as well.
I think the other important factor on this also, Donna and team, is that, if the funds don't get used for that particular pool, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, what you told me was that money could be reallocated, possibly, right? Did I get that straight when you and I spoke?
We lost you.
We lost
Don,
you. If,
What'd you say?
I said, I think another important factor, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, another important factor is that if it doesn't get used for that pool, what happens to those funds? Are they reallocated to something else, or does
No.
it just get wiped off the list?
it gets wiped off the list and goes to something else that's on the list that has a higher priority. Police cars, and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And as
So-
part of that
so-
presentation to Council O'Donnell, we would talk about the fact that we will need those funds at some point in the future, not right now. Again, this is subject to discussion, but not right now. We're gonna go through with 2023, operate it as normal. But 4 months from now, if we study this and we think that we should move forward with that, we're gonna be back to you because we want to open it up in 2024 with the line. So,
Yep.
Reserve,
Yeah.
don't use those funds. Those funds.
Right,
are
right.
funds.
Yeah,
But
that's what I'm,
they
that's,
can do that at any point. They can pull.
right, understand. Okay, thank you.
But we need to make that point to them. That's the key.
So just for my clarification, if this gets put on the back burner, that money goes, they could decide to allocate it to the next higher priority item outside of Parks and Rec. Right. So, like you said, they can go to buy police cars.
Yep.
But that's.
And there currently is currently it is in the capital for 300,000. It does, just because it's in the capital, doesn't mean that we're automatically
Get it.
going to get it.
Right.
It's one of the things we've identified through DPW that we need is a pool liner and repair the pool deck at East Berlin Pool. So that's where it goes in, we've been going through the meetings for the last couple of months of where it falls in the line.
Right.
You know, give them a presentation with all the stuff and they could just say, yeah, we're not gonna fund this.
Right.
Right.
That's right. You could do, it's all dependent, but that's why I think it really is important to give them a heads up. So that they understand that 300,000 is identified. May not even get approved to be spent, but we will probably need that and maybe more, dependent. We can't get anything until the 2024 season anyway, but give them that heads up. I mean, we can't spend it now. We just can't.
Right.
So.
Isn't this just putting on another Band-Aid that we've been doing all along?
Yeah.
For these poor pools. Because when slapping a liner, you still have a problem with the building. Right? So it's not.
You mean the building not being ADA accessible? We- Yes.
We have
Which
a problem
is-
with the waiting pool. All we're doing is kicking the can down the street or down the road. The length of the line.
Right.
You know what that length is.
I think it's 10 years. Did they say it was?
They'll warranty the liner for 10 years. Like I said, South Windsor is the town. Theirs has been in for 17 years with no problems. And they finally have one little rip in a seam.
Until our base cracks, and that's the end of that.
The lady I talked to today, Kim, she really didn't seem like once it's in, it's in. There's been very little to no structural damages that have happened afterwards. When they install the liner, our pool will be different. So when they install a liner on most pools, is they'll tap con the liner to the cement slash plaster. And if there's a defect or something wrong with the plaster at that time, then they'll chisel it out and they'll go in there and put some like epoxy, they would say. And then it'll adhere to that. Ours is gonna go above and go and attach to our liner, to our gutter system. So we're not drilling holes all into our cement. So our areas that would fail aren't as great as other pools because of where our gutter is set. If that makes sense.
So but you can't confidently say that things are gonna last for 17 years, and I'm gonna have to circle back to this.
Right, I cannot.
You can't.
Nope.
And we thought, we don't even know if we can staff the thing. We don't even know if we put a liner in it, more people are even gonna come.
And Steve, before they put the liner in, they do some stress testing or whatever, and,
Yep.
check the pool out for things, whereas that's the surprises that may come, that they see something that we don't know about. The crack is worse than you think, it's behind or whatever, then everything stops. You don't put the liner in, you're gonna be out of use of that pool, and now you gotta decide you're gonna put more money. I think, given that the age of this thing, that we might find that issue. Don't know that, but at least we know that that's a step that we'd wanna do before you put the liner in. You gotta have it.
I do have a question, Steve, because you mentioned that the steps on the far corner looks like they could go at any time. We could sit there and open the pool and the steps would go, and I guess we'd have to actually go and repair it, right? I don't know what that would entail.
So it's not the step, it's as you're walking up to the step, where the steps come down and meet the wall.
Yeah.
That's where the area where you'll see a big surface crack.
Yeah.
Where that chunk right there, that's where we're losing water that's going through the pool out through there. The steps aren't gonna fail. It's that corner of that wall right there, where we know the water is penetrating into there, where we put some caulk.
Okay. So.
That would have to, I would.
Yeah, I would think you.
It has
fix
to be
before we
fixed
did it.
before you put the liner in.
Let's just say that we agree to keep the pool open, and maybe we expend funds to fix the wading pool. And you would probably have to fix that area too, right? You would see by the steps. No?
You don't think
It's a
so?
waiting pool and that's it.
Yeah.
No, but if you were gonna operate Hubbard, if you're gonna put a liner into Hubbard, that, you would think that area has to be. Before the liner goes.
Before the line.
Yeah.
We would not fix that area before the pool opened in 23.
No.
Because once you start
For
chiseling,
24.
right, once you start chiseling, touching and upsetting things,
Right.
you don't know how far that cancer goes into that pool wall.
Right,
And that's what led to the $40,000 extra when they put the gunite in 7 years ago. Is once they started chiseling and you got in there and the concrete was failing behind it, that's where the price increased 2005, 15.
Band-Aid after Band-Aid, the deck is messed up, the deck is cracked, it's.
right. The stairs are warped. The stairs are warped. So to me, that's another issue.
Is there anything that you've seen or that the town has seen that says this is a safety issue, it's a safety concern? It's not just the functionality of the pool, but there, so when I think of a crack in a wall.
Yep.
And water's leaking, right? There's an opportunity for like a lot of erosion to occur at some point behind that.
Yeah, there's no safety concerns on the pool deck. The health inspector inspects the pool deck, inspects every ounce of the pool, chemicals, to make sure everything is good to go. There's no trip hazards, nobody's gonna get hurt, little Johnny's not gonna break his leg. So that's all done and vetted through the health department.
I mean, the question, and kind of in line with what Tony, you're saying, the question, and I know that we're going to talk about, how long we want to discuss it, but question that keeps coming up in my mind. So if we spend a whole boatload of money on this and we fix it up and we get it to a really nice condition, are we going to see a dramatic increase in attendance? Or is it going to be a continuing downward trend?
Not unless they can open up weekends and hours and have the staff.
And I'm not even sure if that would work,
That's
right?
right.
I mean,
Right, we have no idea.
because we look at Percival, and Percival is seeing kind of a decline in attendance, and Percival is open on a much more open schedule than Hubbard, but.
Right, right.
You know, so that's kind of the part that I struggle with. Are we better off saying we're going to curtail this effort and try to figure out how to use the funds someplace else?
And then what do you do with that property? You know, which we talked about at our last meeting, you know, we'd still like to do, the thoughts were we'd like to do something with that property for the people in East Berlin. And there's options. You know, some towns are putting splash pads in. Now that requires a lot of piping and everything, and you know, who knows, to decommission the pool, it's just like 300,000. So liner, patch it up, 300,000, maybe more. Close it, 300,000, and then whatever the costs are for things that you might want to put in there. So, you know, but the people, I think you will probably hear, you know, from people in East Berlin that, you know, obviously they would like to have the pool there. You know, it just comes down to what is the right approach given the money and staff. You can't operate without the staff. So if that's been an issue, and we're only operating Monday through Friday, 48 days, where we could handle that, you know, we could take all those people and have them in person over and above what they do now.
Yeah. And I drove around that neighborhood a little bit, just to see what the lay of the land is, and see, like, you know, literally I was looking for like, how many people have pools in their backyard? But it's you know, it's kind of a unique situation. You're on the other side of the turnpike, and it just seems like, you know, you're in a completely different, I don't want to say that, but you're almost like in a completely different town.
I'm sure at one time.
I enjoy it
really,
very
really-
much.
I enjoy it very much.
Right, right.
I'm sure at one time it was a really big neighborhood.
It was.
Oh, I'm sure,
You
yeah.
know,
I mean, the whole Parks and Rec.
Time.
It's not anymore.
Yeah.
but at one time, every single kid, they probably there all summer long.
Listen, when I was a kid,
Parades.
Lions pool and personal
Right.
pool were mine.
Exactly.
I mean,
I
there's
remember
beautifully
going to
sunny
the parade.
days that no one's there.
Yeah.
Beautiful, sunny, 85 degrees. No one shows up till 5 o'clock. So my guards sit there for 5 hours doing nothing. Beautiful sunny day.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like it used to be where you'd have kids coming,
Yeah.
regular kids. It's not like that
You know,
anymore. For whatever reason, I don't know if parents don't want them to go off on their own, but it's not like the pool was when I started here 27 years ago. It's totally, the whole atmosphere has totally changed.
Well, and
Hey, Don,
go ahead, Doug.
I was just gonna ask you, I'm sorry, did you need me for anything for voting or anything? Because if not, I was gonna drop the game started.
No, we're not voting on anything. What we might have a consensus.
No, I
that we
wasn't
should-
talking about
Matt.
the pool. I'm just talking just in general. I don't know if you have a quorum there. Do you have a quorum there?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Hey, good luck in the game.
Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you.
Okay,
Keep
yeah,
the football warm.
Yeah. okay.
That's a good option.
What's that?
Keep the football warm.
Yeah, so, you know, there's a great number of pools that have been installed. Jen has a statistic, 185 in the last few years. Right? Kids are at daycare. You know, there's not the one parent home to bring them to the pool. So Lions pool, that used to be filled. Then that started drying up with people going because, you know, the moms or the dads aren't home with the kids. So those were the younger age kids. And so I think for a number of reasons, though, it's all changed. I don't, Grove Park, people use that quite a bit, but the basketball courts.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
It's amazing how the basketball courts can have that many people and there be nobody at the pool.
Yeah.
I know all my daughter's friends, they all moved out of East Berlin, but there used to be 15 or 20 of them. And that 15 or 20 would all go to the pool, but all of their parents have all moved away from the town. And there's no young kids in that age demographic anymore.
So it's interesting that you say, well, that park, I mean, I was there at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon earlier this week. And there were a bunch of little kids, moms.
At the swings and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool, yeah.
It
But,
used to be packed. I mean, really, in the basketball courts and everything. I mean, that was a pretty active area. They'd all go to the little store,
yeah,
down the street, and they'd go back to the pool and, and that's how we were brought up in Newington all the time, Churchill Park. We dropped off at 1, my mom would pick us up at 5.
so for a variety of reasons, and some of them are actually very good reasons, that kids just have a lot of other options. It's just not getting utilized as much as it once was.
Right. So let me, is the general consensus that we should notify the council that we're looking at this? I mean, we're not making any decisions.
I think that's. the
And
right
let
thing.
them know, give them, I would give them the sheet where we have how many days the pools are open, how many people attended. I would give them that information so that they have it.
Yeah.
And then, just talk to them. You can see how low the numbers are. And then you can handle that in person. It is one thing that we would be thinking about, along with what is really needed. And not get into the specifics, this is what we know, but that's it. So, we'll come back to you in 4 or 5 months.
But the plan is to open the pool.
The plan is to keep it open
Right.
for 2023. We're working towards 2024.
But what do you want to do about the waiting pool?
Staff fix it.
Mhm.
You guys fix it.
That's a lot of chipping.
It's 10 grand. It's 10 grand for just materials, not including our labor. It's 10 grand to get that open.
And so,
I mean, so if we're
can
going
we
in
do it
that
for
direction,
2023? We can get that done.
if we're going in the direction where we're not gonna have a pool, why start throwing more money at it?
Is there demand for the waiting?
This year, people did ask for it, but again, it's not like you had hundreds of people coming in there looking for a wait, but we did have people ask. If it was gonna
And when you
reopen.
tell them it's not operational, they just went away.
No, they were there, but it is a nicer area because that shallow end is not quite as shallow as Percival. It's about 3.5 feet, I think.
It's shallow, 12 to 14 inches.
No, the shallow end of the pool.
Yep.
It's about 3.5
Yep.
feet. So Percival, it's like 2.5. So it's a little bit,
Deeper.
yeah. So that's why people like that as an option, but again, we're not getting that many people that are coming in there.
But did anybody, slam the phone down or say,
No, this
why
is
aren't we
people,
fixing it?
it wasn't people calling us, it was people asking about lifeguards when they were.
Just asking why.
Yeah, we've never got any calls in the office.
So what do we rope it off or?
So it's
It's
fenced.
got the fence, right? We just lock up the fence?
It has to be locked,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
$10,000 for the material.
It's $4,200 to have the pool water blasted. They come in and they'll blast all the old paint off, clean that up. And then the stone itself is right around $4,400. And that's not including the mortar, the cement, and all the labor hours to get it done. And we peeled up some of it. We sent some pictures out to Debbie and Jen. It's pretty much redoing the whole
Yeah, it does look like it.
coping, the top
Right.
cap, everything.
So let me throw this out. Why not spend the $10,000 for that waiting pool so that you can open 2023? Some people use it. Maybe in 2024, we decide we're not gonna open East Berlin, the more Linda pool complex. We wait, some will say we wasted 10, but we gave it as another opportunity. And for 10 grand, why not? And see if the usage is there, because if the usage is there, maybe that's another reason why to go to a splash pad. So you have the wading pool and you have a splash pad. And again, not knowing the full cost, and I know, it'd be considerable, but that's what towns are doing now. They're putting splash pads in. So,
Are you saying leave the waiting pool open and then put a slide?
I would spend the 10 grand on the waiting pool, get it open for 2023, because we're planning to open Hubbard. Or maybe we find out we don't have staff, I don't know, but
But if we find out we don't have staff, we just wasted $10,000.
we wasted, there could be,
Well, when I'll know staff, I'll have a good idea, like January, February, so I mean, you're not gonna put that.
We would probably start it once we slow down in a couple of weeks of ripping everything out and getting the company into water blasting. And I imagine the material is 4 to 6 weeks out.
and really, Steve, if we go down the path that we decide we'd like to put in a splash pad, we need, $2 million to do that. We say we just spent the 10 on the waiting pool, that would be a compliment to the splash pad. So to me, maybe not wasted. But, yep, we might have wasted it, otherwise. So,
Is that money, where does that come from?
capital,
No,
No,
the 10,000 out of my operating budget.
Now, are you equipped to absorb that, or do you have to put in for it for next year, or how does that?
well, it's already.
It's already
this
there.
year. But why operate it?
What do you
That's
mean?
$10,000, it's capital. You're
Capital
creating
is anything over 25,000.
I don't want to see you take money away from something else. That.
But that's, the money's there to put it back into our infrastructure and into the things we have, such as a pool. That's why it's there. I mean, if we
Yeah.
fall short somewhere else later in the year, maybe we have a little bit somewhere else we can transfer into another account. I mean, is it gonna hurt? Yeah, because it's unexpected. But if that's what you guys want to
We can
do,
always go to the council and say, we want to do this.
And if
We
it's
need you to
self-defense,
transfer an
it's
extra 10 into Steve's budget if that's what it's gotta be. Yeah. I mean, that's what we do, but they won't transfer it until they absolutely know
Yeah.
that he needs it, which is gonna be towards the end of the year when he starts running out of money.
Yeah.
But we can make that point. I mean, that's my thought. I
How
mean,
much time do you need to train ahead for that type of project?
ripping it out will go rather quickly. The guy that we reached out to water blasted, he seemed like it's not a huge job. He can get out there, get it a day. I would imagine probably by January 1st, we'd have it water blasted, the coping, everything ripped off, cleaned up and ready to go to order everything to start installing the mortar and the cement, the new coping and step block, probably May 15th-ish, once we know we're out of the frost.
by that time, before you order, you check with Debbie on the staffing.
Right.
Just
So
to
we
make
need to
sure,
know that.
that we feel that we can. If we can't, then you don't order.
So if we're not good to go, the only money we would have lost is the prep work.
But Debbie just said she'd know her staffing by February.
I mean, I have a good idea. It's really my key supervisors coming back. And I already know I lost 1 of the 5 for sure, so.
Yeah.
There's a chance I could lose 4 out of the 5, and that's my concern.
And we
With
can,
opening 1 pool, that's a concern.
we can always rip off what's bad right now and see if we can get the guy to earmark us in for like May 1st to come in and water blast it. And Debbie gives us the green light February 1st, then we know we can order the stuff and I think everything will come together. If we have to use a little bit of overtime to bring the guys in on the weekend to do it, because that's our busiest time of year, that's what we do.
And that complex is only open Monday through Friday. It's not open weekends, which probably when, you might get some families, so maybe, What would you do, Debbie?
What would I do with what?
Would you try and open the waiting pool?
I mean, I don't know if I can staff the pool, so it's hard for me to say, spend the 10,000.
If you could staff the pool. If you
Yeah, I
think
mean,
you could.
it is a nice, we have that as part of the facility and it's not open, so it is nice if you, I think you're gonna, to put money into that and then put money in the liner and then still have the same bathhouse, you're not gonna draw people because you're putting a liner in, because they're not gonna understand that. They're gonna come in and still see the outdated bathhouse that you're walking into, but I mean, you always want to provide as much services as you can. For me, it's gonna come down to staff, and that's that's gonna be and it's an issue all over the country. It's an issue everywhere, so
We
it's
understand.
not, you know, it's not like there's a lot of people you can pull from
Right.
to try to get into it, and that's the hard part, but, you know.
And
you
it's not
you
even the
can.
public sector, either. I mean, it's
Right, but I'm just saying, even just on the aquatic end, it's just, it's crazy. So. Yeah, the wading pool used to be, you know, used to be a nice little feature for us to have, but we really haven't had it for what, 4 years?
Since pre-COVID, yep.
So 2019 was the last year we operated it, so it'll be 4 years next year. Huh. So. It's hard, this is not an easy decision by any means on any of this.
But you
What do
did
you
bring
guys-
up an interesting comment. I think it strikes a chord. So people are gonna pull up. You know, you put a new liner in. What? You put a new liner in, what's that? Right? They're gonna look at the facility and say,
Same facility.
is it up to date? Is it, you know, is it new? Is it?
Well, the building is safe. I mean, it gets inspected. It's just not ADA compliant. What is it in the budget, the capital budget, like 2027?
Yes.
Oh, for the ADA?
Yeah.
Oh, they just keep on
It's been in
pushing
there
it.
for
It was
25 years.
probably this year.
It's been in for 25 years.
It just,
Never
yeah,
gonna get
just keep on pushing out, that's all.
And the
They,
quad-
But we-
right, they basically have, as long as you have it in, you don't do it, push it out, you're still.
And
But the number is a placeholder. It's not,
that's right.
it's not
There's
a
no
legitimate
estimates,
number.
there's nothing.
There's no quantitative value behind whatever number that
Right.
is.
It's just a dollar value on a piece of paper.
That's it.
It's not like
It's a
there's
placeholder.
$250,000 there that says.
There's no architectural design of exactly what that building needs to bring it up to ADA compliant. And if you start bringing that building up to ADA compliant, you have to bring the pool up to ADA compliant. Even putting the liner and doing the deck is not bringing that pool up to ADA
Right,
compliant.
right, right.
You're gonna have to put a ramp, you're gonna have to
The
put a
whole
lift.
complex has to be made ADA, which first of all, has to be made ADA compliant.
And so I was
And
just
they
going to
have-
ask that question.
We're grandfathered in, that's why it's not.
And we could be grandfathered in, but I guess, you know, there are families and kids that are going in with the service.
I mean, if they want to use the pool, that's right, that's right.
And it's-
So do you take those monies and use it for personal? You know, we're not gonna decide that, but what's the consensus on the wading pool? You know, do we just spend the money or, you know, work towards spending the money, halt if no staff, maximum 10 grand. Fix it. Or not do it, it hasn't been open since 2019, no one's screaming about it,
What do you need to know?
We haven't opened it, why bother?
and wait until, include that in the whole study of.
I would say if we use, I'd say February 1st. I think that'll give us enough time, and we reach out to the contractors and see where they are with that as well.
So I mean, why don't we take a position that says, to your initial comment, let's go to council, explain the situation. This is, you know, this is the kind of dollar value ballpark. There are the numbers. But then for the wading pool, it sounds like we've got, it kind of lines up with the staffing discussion. Even if we said we're gonna wait until the January meeting, and in the interim, we do some, you know, additional homework. And come January, we're either in for upgrading the wading pool, because we think we've got the staff, and we think it'll get used, or you know, decide not to. I mean, put that out there as an idea.
2 years from now, we sit right in this room and we talk about how the whole, he comes in and says the deck is really broken and it's cracked and we need a whole new deck.
So
It's
the
gonna be
but I guess
one thing
Tony-
after another.
$300,000, sorry, to
Isn't that
interrupt.
numbers?
So, no, go ahead.
The $300,000 is, it's got the pool liner, don't hold me to the numbers, it's been a few weeks.
Yeah.
150. It's got the deck at 125. So it puts us somewhere around like 255, and I think I have 20% contingency for the unexpected to happen, which is somewhere around $35,000 of unknown damages that are going to occur. So that the 300 is the pool deck and the pool liner for both pools.
To fix what we know now.
Right.
And Tony, I hear what you're saying, and I hope it doesn't pan out that way. But, you know, I suspect we could probably make that argument about 50 different locations that are run by the town. You know, that,
So somewhere we gotta stop and we gotta start doing it the right way. Not just, you know, whatever here, whatever rain is and open up the umbrella and get it, you know?
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. One of the things that just kind of keeps ticking in the back of my mind though is there's not a lot out there from a recreational perspective. And that's why, you know, I kind of struggle with, so if you spend all this money and fix it up, are you gonna get a bunch of kids coming? I think the answer is no. You know?
That's why I've had such a hard time with this thing too, because I hate to be on that group that says, yep, we're gonna, you know, be penny pinchers and, you know,
Yeah.
start paying and close it and whatever, you know, because we're trying to serve the public here. But if the public doesn't want to come, they don't want to work there anymore, they don't want to come and play at it,
Right.
and time is passed. The Lions Club got closed, the Memorial Pool time passed it by. It's great for a long time.
I don't disagree, but I think that, I think you need to, kind of to Donna's point, and we have some flexibility between Debbie knowing and Steve, you know, whatever that date is, at least put it on the docket to at least to let the, I guess, the local folks know that we're trying to, you know, make this a consideration and take appropriate steps. And that seems like the right way to approach it. And then,
Well, if that goes to the council, it's on the agenda. We're talking about it.
Right.
Yeah.
well,
Right, and that's
the other thing
good.
too.
We'll get out
To
there.
me,
That's
that's a good thing.
The
Let
people
people
already
know.
know anyways, they think it's being closed. You know, you ask them, and they'll tell you, oh yeah, that's not closing.
It's good to let,
They put it
let
out
the
there.
people come out and, you know, talk about what they want. I mean, you know,
We'll pick it up and put it out there.
yeah.
And if they respond, then, you know, the council also has to deal with that too.
Right.
But at least we'll know what the feelings of the people are. I think there are, what, 200, I think I looked up, 206 kids at Hubbard Park, Hubbard School. I think the population is like 206 kids. That must mean they live around there somewhere, right?
Right.
So that's one thing. But I think you need to give the folks of that community an opportunity to opine on it. I mean, I think it's a fair thing to do. And then we'll deal with each step as we go along. I just think it's a smarter thing to do. I think it's fair to the public who will potentially use that pool. And if we do go forward with even with a waiting pool, if we're lucky enough to get the appropriate staff to do it, then we can see what the results are going to be too of that.
Steve, is there a company or a couple of the vendors that you've talked with that have talked about bringing in, I'll say, pool specialist that comes in and looks at that facility and then can come to our meeting and say, okay, guys, your facility here is out of whack compared to, you know, your other towns. And in order for you really to bring that facility up, not necessarily to ADA, but let's talk about that too. But this is what you need to do. We've looked. We think you've got a major issue in that crack, more than you think you know. But, and you know, if it costs 20,000, 50, I don't know what it is, but have someone and let's spend the money to get a full report. And that would help our commission as well. None of us are specialists in this thing.
Right, but we've already missed the negative side of it. We've already missed all the deadlines to get something like that in. The town doesn't have $50,000 in for a consultant. We just spent $7,000 to hire a engineering firm to decide how to figure out how to put irrigation in a capped landfill at Veterans Park. So I mean, it's a large, substantial amount of money. We don't have $50,000 to bring in an architect or design services
or a consulting group to come in there and find out, dig into exactly what it needs to bring that whole entire facility up to ADA compliance. And I don't even know where we would start with that. Years ago, I believe there was 20-something thousand dollars in a budget somewhere where we don't know where it went. It was there when Jim Capides was here, and it was somebody to go in there and do an analysis of both pools, what they needed to come up with a figure of what it really truly costs. And I don't know if that got turned back into some other capital or
Where does that take us? You do that, and then you give us a sheet of recommendations. We look at it and say in that dream world we all live in, that we have to fund it and do it all. Is it gonna be worth it? Are the people gonna come?
is that the best place to
Right,
do
that's-
it?
Right. Are
That's
the
the
kids, gonna come back and
Right,
work at it? Are they gonna come use it?
That gets back to the question. If if you build
If
it,
you build it, right.
will they all show up?
Right. Are they?
Or, if you build it, that's
I
use
mean,
the money
Hubbard
for.
schools at, whatever attendance has been declining too. They're the
Yes.
smallest school that we have.
And there's
They give
always
up a
been
couple
talk about
classrooms
closing
to
it
the
down.
live.
Yeah,
they-
and closing Hubbard a lot of, Hubbard gets closed and
You got the Y in there too. I think that's the biggest function.
They've also talked about making Hubbard like K 1, 2, 3, 10, a partial elementary school.
So you don't know of any company though that does this kind of thing. So, I mean, there has to be someone, no?
I can look around. I can ask around. Look at the difference of numbers I got by reaching out to a pool specialist on what it would cost to put a pool liner in there and how fast that price has gone up astronomically compared to
Yeah.
reaching out to a company who sells the pool liner and is a direct supplier of what the real figure is. So you're looking at $100,000 markup by going through a pool company compared to buying it direct.
Yeah.
So you don't know how accurate the number you're gonna get from the consultant is gonna be anyways.
works that way.
What's that?
They don't work that way. What's the point of getting a consultant's report? Right? If they just have a report, well, what's it gonna do for us? You're not gonna be able to get the stuff funded.
Well, the thing is that we're gonna have to go through that before the liner gets done anyway. Someone's gonna have to look at that, the liner company or whatever, but you're dependent on that. And to me, I don't know if they're the right ones to do it, but maybe that's the best we can do. And you're gonna know that. But that's because you're already committed to 280,000, so it's like, okay, all right. I think we don't need necessarily a vote, but a general consensus. Are you okay with me going to council?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna write something up. I'm obviously gonna go by with Steve, Debbie and Jen, and make sure that they concur with comments and probably get some more information a little bit. And I will send it out to the commissioners before I go. So I don't know when the next council meeting is, but this will probably happen in December.
I believe they only have one council meeting in December. I don't know, it's gotta be early, I don't know the exact date, but
Yeah, probably.
there's only one meeting.
6 or something.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be that week. I mean, I would like to get out there, get it out there, because we're talking January, February staffing, we really know a little bit more. And again, that's and the general agreement, the thought is we move forward, 2023 is often as is. Waiting pool, we might be waiting, we may need to spend 10 of that 300,000 that we've got set aside to get that waiting pool up. We haven't made any decision, we haven't opened it since 2019, blah, 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 blah. But staffing is really gonna one.
Well, and if we can't staff it, then there's your answer. I mean,
Right. Then you
why
don't
would
have to
anybody
spend
do
it.
it?
Right.
I mean, that's
Right.
the unfortunate answer, but
Right.
that's gonna be the
And then it's
reality.
more of a long-term discussion.
Then no matter what, regardless, the 10,000 will come out of my operating budget. I have to find it inside of my operating budget
Right.
for this project.
Right.
There's no capital. I can't go to council and ask for money. That's what the budget's there for.
I would make a point though.
Right.
We didn't budget. You had no idea that we were gonna be including it. So, you know, so noted, Kevin, put 10 in this.
Good.
However, I just make a point.
I appreciate it.
You didn't know he was gonna pay 15,000 on the fence.
And look at all the work that he had to do for, oh Jesus, the park, you know, on the west side. He had to do the emergency bridges and things like that. We're gonna install emergency bridge up in, what's the, on the west side of town?
West Lane?
Off West Street. What's the trails?
No, we didn't do that.
I thought you had to do that. You got called, and you had this emergency, you had a,
The
for a
bridge,
safety issue.
that's,
Anyway,
that's the bridge on West, that's the brush and Ragged Mountain that Bobby Brown.
okay, okay. So I thought it was, yeah, all right.
Cool.
Yeah, all right, okay, so we made that decision. The pool questions, do you want to go through things tonight? People read it. We'll be adding to it, guys. I wrote them, but Joy, oh, your copy. Just general questions, I mean, just, that's all it is. So other questions were submitted, those got accumulated. We'll look at those, you know, next meeting. We'll continue doing this. Right.
Yeah, thank you very
It
much.
was awesome. You guys
Yeah.
really pulled a lot of, Jen included, a lot of good information.
And thank you, Debbie, for the job descriptions. There was the facilities manager in there that I thought was, I asked, you were on vacation, I asked John about that. I thought that was cool, you guys are doing that. Because you have another person that's more the supervisor level that will, you know, be able to be on site to deal with.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do that for years and just didn't really have the opportunity, but when COVID hit and, you know, I was able to move some things around, it is important to have that extra person who's not guarding or responsible to guard, who can answer questions and help with people coming in the front door where you're not getting you know, the assistant director out of a chair or waiting for them to come off their shift before they can answer questions. So that has worked pretty well. And a lot of other towns, when I was in Middletown, we had a facility manager at our facilities and it just worked out really nice. So.
Okay. You're also, you're set with that?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, Parks and Rec monthly report.
Just a quick update. I don't have the exact numbers on basketball, but we ended up with 19 teams, which is actually one more than last year. But numbers were low again. I don't know why. People don't really have any answer. The boys 3rd and 4th were back up to 16, which is good. But 5th and 6th grade, we only have 3, and we have 4 and 7 and 8. Girls 3rd and 4th, we have 4, which is pretty consistent. 5th and 6th, we have 2 again, and they have 11 on a team. They didn't want to try to get a 3rd team and have a bye week. So, and I really we've got no interest for any additional girls this week. And then, but we had to cancel the 7th and 9th grade program. We only have 1 person. So we'll run it with what we have. I don't have a 3rd grade coordinator, so I'm making some moves this year. We will not be playing any games at Griswold. My coordinator at Willard, who did a great job last year, Kat, does not have an issue. She's going to be running the whole 3rd and 4th grade. So she's going to have 2 3rd and 4th grade girls games, and then the boys league is going to come over and play their games at Willard this year. So I actually think it's a better facility for the boys than the Griswold cafeteria, which is very cramped and parents kind of, you know, have to stand one person on the sideline very tight. So they're going to have bleachers. It's going to be nice. And then we're moving the girls 5th and 6th. They're going to play the last game now at McGee. So they get to play in the big court. So we'll try it this year. I think it'll work fine. It'll save a lot of money because we'll have 1 less facility. I won't have to hire as much staff. I think I'm only going to hire a couple additional staff because I don't need my entire McGee staff is coming back, but I lost someone at Willard. So we'll see how it goes this year. And we have our evaluations this weekend. And I had the coaches meeting this week. Everyone's, you know, eager to get going. So again, not sure why numbers are as low as they are.
Travel taken over?
Travel did take Yeah, I think this is the first year for girls, I don't know, Steve, if you know, girls' fourth grade travel. I think this might be the first year that
Oh,
they
they
had
went down, wow.
fourth grade, so I did lose, we did lose people to that. But, you know, we're doing the best that we can. I think our program, I try to promote it as a more fun program than travel, where you're still learning the game, but not quite as intense, and we stress equal playing time, which is big.
And there's a place for that, you know.
Yeah.
Their kids are.
Yeah, and there's some very good talent, so it's great that they have the opportunity to play against a little bit more competitive teams. But yeah, we'll do the best we can. An interesting thing, the t-shirts went up $2 per shirt this year because of all the costs and the supply issue and stuff. So
Where do you go?
I get them from Guilford Sporting Goods down the shore. The guy I deal with actually used to work at Hatfield when I first started here, and he has since moved there, and I know he gives me the best price, and he delivers for free. He'll do, if I need 2 shirts, he'll do them just at the regular cost without charging me any other additional cost. So, it's good. It's just, you know, I haven't had to order them for 2 years, because when I ordered them before COVID,
Yeah.
we had them, and then so last year I didn't have to order. So that's a kind of a 2-year increase, but, and everything's gone up, so it doesn't surprise me at all. The scarecrow contest, I don't know, I hope you guys got to see them during the day.
Yeah.
A lot of positive feedback on that. The police chief loved it. He asked for ballots so all of his staff could vote, because they said they love driving in the complex.
It's awesome.
Steve gave me a great,
Nice.
you know, positive comment that driving in, other people in the
It was
town
cool,
hall
yeah.
said you drive in every day and see them. So I thought it was cool. Hopefully we can expand and get some more next year. But yeah, you know, tried something different. The trunk or treat went really well. Beautiful night. Can't complain. Tinsel Run, I did look today. I think it's up to like 38 signed up so far. So that's about average. People wait because you never know what the weather's going to be.
Yeah.
Working on winter programs. Santa's going to be visiting, and we'll do our house parade. So
Who won the scarecrow contest?
the Beetlejuice, it was Ledgecrest. Yeah. So we gave them a $25 gift certificate, and they wanted it from Kensington Pizza. So we brought that to them today. So. Yeah. So I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Any questions for Debbie? Okay, thank you. Okay, Steve.
So we finally, after about 2 years, a little over 2 years, have started to catch up on a lot of open jobs that we've had out there, and able to start knocking some of them out. Willard School bought a Gaga pit through their PTO. And if you haven't looked to see how they played, is they put 8-10 people into this octagon thing, and they hit the ball back and forth. And we constructed that for them right during their fall break, right around Columbus Day. They couldn't have been any happier. So now Griswold School has 2 of them. Willard has 1 of them. They're using it every day, both of them, which is going great.
That is a great game. Sheila came. In her backyard.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's nice. It's something different, which is really cool. We started assisting social services. We moved all the food from the food pantry out to Pistol Creek, everything from the bottom of Pistol Creek up to the top of Pistol Creek. ShopRite made a huge tractor trailer delivery. So all that food is there now. So all the food's been moved for the year. If you haven't been out to Sage, especially the back parking lot, for years, in my mind, it's always been an eyesore of it's just not well kept. It's overgrown. It just looks like crap, I would say. We cleared that all up, dug that all out, grubbed it out. We put 100 feet of guardrail. So now all the guardrail in the park matches as you're coming in, coming around, going towards the softball field. We constructed a path going from the parking lot to the top of the hill at Sage 1. So if anybody wants to walk up now, they can get to the top
I
of
saw
Sage
that,
1.
yeah, right.
That's great.
The guys, like I said, the guys did just an unbelievable job. We did our normal playground inspections. They replaced the climber, finally came in after 23 weeks at Little People's Playground. So that's been redone. And we actually started putting Christmas lights up. Some people thought it was a little too early, but when the weather works out perfect and it's 70 degrees and the leaves haven't fallen yet, you gotta find something to do.
Yeah.
So no, all the Christmas lights are up, we're ready to get them going, but that's pretty much the Parks and Grounds report.
Any questions?
So I saw where you put the generator out at Sage for the lights.
Yep.
Sage front, so that they would walk. And I also noticed, did you attach another light on there to go down to the walkway? It looked like it was new.
So what happened was the security team identified that they thought the crosswalk was too dark going from the north gate of the football
Right.
Scalise to the parking lot. So we first tried it 2 football games with a portable light tower
Right.
that we ran for 2 days, for 2 games. And facilities hooked up a huge floodlight. So now as you're coming into Sage, the crosswalk's always illuminated. We're probably gonna add speed bumps as you're pulling in and maybe like a crosswalk sign ahead, crosswalk ahead kind of thing. And then put one of those like flippy things right in the center of it for the same thing purposes during the spring and fall season that people know to slow down and not run anybody over. We'll remove all of it for the winter, but we think the spotlight will alleviate us from having to tow a separate light tower down there for future games.
I think that, I know you put the crosswalk signs in there in the past where a little arrow goes down. But I think a bigger one would probably be better. And I also noticed that on the south end of Sage Front, that floodlight is, I never noticed it working before.
We only turn it on for football games.
Okay.
Just to illuminate the parking lot. We wanted to see how much of a difference it made. We were under the impression that we were informed that girls soccer and boys soccer were going to be hosting some gargantuous tournament. It was going to draw a massive crowd. So we tried to figure out exactly how we could accommodate all the parking and everything, or if they're going to need to use the front, whatever it is. And I'm pretty sure 99% of it, they only ended up using some of the large parking lot in the back. So they didn't even need to do any overflowing parking in front. So we're going to keep the lights the way they are, we'll keep the floodlight the way it is, and we won't turn on the big lights on the south and north and illuminate that open field.
Yeah, because I noticed the other 2 lights on the north end were not.
Right. No, we just tried to see it for a couple of games to see if anybody would notice or if it added any benefit to anybody, and we heard it. So Doug's looking into possibly retrofitting all of those with LED. And if he can redo them all with LED and we see a drastic change in the bill, we will probably leave them running all the time. So we're not paying a lot, and it just gives us, everybody a little added more security around the area.
Any questions, other comments? No? Okay. Fields, playground tours, any commissioner have any thoughts on any other locations to visit? I know we'll focus on Hubbard. State of Connecticut grant update? Anybody have anything?
We met with Castle Ruth, Luke McCoy, Dave Franklin, Andrea, and Eileen, the principal at the high school, to come up with some preliminary designs of where the field would go, how we'd lay out the field, where we would put things, what size the soccer field would be inside the bowels of the track. We gave them the option of 70 yards, 60 yards, and 65 yards. And it seemed like they kind of agreed with the 65 yards because 70 was too tight to the track. So Dave says that 65 yards will fit. And that's kind of the update where we are now, is just, compiling all the information, everything we need to get ready to go out the bid just after the first of the year. They're going to do the geo borings, I want to say 18th. With all the sports ending at Pascaglio, they can go out there and do the geo borings to make sure the percolation, make sure the soil is good, there's no contaminated soil, and then we should be all set to go with that as well. Then all that will be compiled into a report.
And I think Jen sent out the email on the fiber optic, right?
So, yeah,
Everything went fine.
yeah, we didn't know it. They showed up a week early.
Oh.
It's all small.
They didn't tell anybody, but they showed up a week early, and I've never seen a company work as clean, efficient, and nice as them. There's not, if you went there, you wouldn't know they were there.
Right.
Everything they did, everything they touched, immaculate. Like, they do 300 feet in one day. Before they left that day, they backfill it, fine rake it, seed it, straw it. You'd never know they were there. I was definitely afraid that they were there Wednesday and Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday. And it was the same day that the high school was having their CCC tournament. And the guy's like, listen, if you need me to pull out and not come until they're done, I won't. I don't want to bother anybody. Everything worked out great. So kudos to that company. I mean, they nailed it.
And going across the Suriana Drive, hey, you can't even tell for the most part. I mean, it was great. I mean, they've got everything. I mean, I was out there and they were, I guess they even drilled a hole, you know, through the building.
Yep, that's where they're gonna put the wrap.
Yep.
For the fiber optics, but they nailed it.
So, you may not know, but when are they thinking for the, scoreboard?
I still think it's not until like February-ish.
Okay.
I know it's not even going through the production line as of yet.
Just when I was out at Sage, the custodians were out there cleaning, and I was talking, and I was telling them, great job. The bathrooms look neat and clean. I guess you guys have them out there every day now, at least clean the bathrooms.
Since pre-COVID, they have been on a rotation out there during busy times of the year.
Right.
They're out there every day and they clean them. They do a Brett and his crew does an absolute phenomenal job.
That place is spick and span.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I've gone in there, I mean, it's been great.
And anytime there's a football game, a large event, it might be the Nutmeg Games, it might be the cross-country invitational, we bring them in the following morning to come and clean it. So that bathrooms are clean pretty much all weekend long throughout the course of the summer and the winter. Or fall, I should say.
That place, I mean, they just take very good care of it, and they're talking about the chemicals that they have, the special chemicals for the toilets and stuff. And they're on top of it. It looks great. It looks as
Honestly, I went to a football game 2 weeks ago. Going to the bathrooms was fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hate to say that.
First time
It's a weird comment to say, but I mean, compared to what it used to be,
Right.
Oh,
Much better.
much better.
kudos.
Night and day.
You wouldn't mind bringing your child in there.
Yeah. Now, you know how you showed us that picture where the guard had put up the caution tape on the bleachers? I was selling luminaries that night. So nobody put up any caution tape, but the garbage that you showed us come from the kids. It's unbelievable. So that the Red Sea sits on the end.
Yeah.
And when they move, it's snowing underneath the bleachers. The
Really?
garbage. It just comes fluttering down, tons of it. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and
How much garbage those kids are
Generate.
just throwing, you know?
Yeah, we didn't have any, so you sold the luminaries, there was no caution tape, but they caution taped by where you turn the lights on and off. Somebody did it, and we kind of inquired why they're doing it.
Yeah.
It's supposedly for safety reasons. Well, you got all this staff there, why are you not telling them not to go underneath there? But the way we rectified the garbage situation is we bring a guy in on Saturday morning to clean up all the garbage underneath both bleachers. Because if we have a large event going on, like Debbie had her trunk or treat,
Yeah.
and I pulled in there, I was not happy with, it just did not look good. It was a very, like, the caution tape was enough to give me a stroke, but it was just, it didn't look inviting. It looked awful. It looked run down. It was not, I don't even know where to go with it. It's not called for.
Well, honestly, I had no complaints about anything there that day, except for one thing. The lady that brought her dog.
I saw your email, yeah.
So standing there underneath the tent, now Polly's there, and Berlin staffers are there. The work, you know, the guys people that Franklin India hires, plus 3 Berlin police officers standing there all chit chatting. This lady got her dog on a leash, trotted right by. All of us, everybody. And I went and I told Polly about it. He was like, well, what color tops do you want? You know, and I didn't want to make the scene, have this lady, whatever, that costly. So the next day I actually went to my daughter's soccer game in Western New England. They had a similar type of sign that if you go to the cross country meets at Crystal Creek, they put up a thing that says the dog park was closed. It's like a folding TP sign. There's a big thing on there. It it says dog park is closed during the meeting. Why don't we have that at the entrance of where you buy tickets? Yeah, so with a big town symbol, you know, no animals allowed. The problem with the way the wording is now, it's on the sign outside of on the gate or whatever. Fence.
Yeah.
So nobody's gonna stop and read that.
It's just
I
a
will
big
read it
visual,
because
like
you
a
wanna see,
kind of
you know.
thing that you can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But here, it's in the walking path. It's in the way. You have to walk around it. So you're gonna read what it says. And it's a simple thing. Just have, you know, you put the town symbol on it, no dogs in the park. Yeah. That was my suggestion. Yeah.
They go to operating budget.
That's around by the Berlin High School.
So anyways,
Something to think about. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because
Okay.
people are still bringing their dogs there.
A lot of them are on the outside though, because I'm usually there and there are people who sit on the south end of the field with their dogs. And they watch the game.
You mean outside the fence?
Yeah.
She was going for bleachers.
Huh?
Yeah, she
walked
was
the street.
inside the
She was
gate.
I know
inside.
It was that bulldog that got you going. You know?
No, that was before. This
That's
was
what I'm
different.
saying, you know.
Okay, I thought this dog
It was the
scared.
poodle that sat in the stands.
This dog was scared. I didn't think he wanted to be there. She was kind of dragging it along. It was about, you know, smaller dog.
Yeah.
And she was dragging it along.
To see all these people and, yeah.
So are they roping off the picnic tables for the football games and for the soccer games?
I don't know about soccer.
Do you know
games.
that, Steve?
They rope, the only time that anything is roped off is for everything other than football games. They rope it off for lacrosse because they don't want somebody walking behind there as a lacrosse ball is being thrown on goal. And they do it for soccer because there's nobody using, and they even moved both soccer teams to the away side. The home side, they're not even on the home side. They sit on the opposite side of the field, right?
The soccer teams?
Yeah.
Or not?
They're on the opposite side, yeah.
So basically, somebody was right over there and they were jumping on, I can only assume, one of the seats to the picnic table are bent down. Right? So, and then I had to believe that it was probably the Friday night game, whatever was there, because I could hear it at the house and they were screaming when somebody, I mean, literally, I was like right next door. So, and those things are hard to bend.
Yeah.
But they bent the tail end of one, because I was there the previous Saturday and they were fine. And I was there for Saturday for my last soccer game and party afterwards. And they were bent.
Probably have to chain the cement benches that cover it, so they don't throw them over. the
Yeah,
fence.
right.
So,
Right.
which is, you know. Insane.
Are we good?
We're good. I was
Right.
just trying to look up, when the next council meeting is.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Everybody have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Nice to see you.